Hello, hello, hello. How are you? How are you? Thank you for tuning in. It is February 10th, 2020. This is LMG Daily. Life Means Go Forth on the Daily. My name is Lady Means Go Forth. And I am coming to you with a segment for Black History. And I'm just going to shine a light on two wonderful, outstanding pioneers for Black History Month. And I'm also going to dig into a little bit of finding out who you are, where you're from, and possibly understanding that you belong to a purpose that's way bigger than you, and how you're going to impact those people. I honestly, truly, after doing my research, after seeing these truth tellings, let me just say, truth tellings, from seeing these truth tellings from Brother Dane, Hun Chai. You guys, there's some information. There's so much information. If you are a person that is born in the South, been raised in the South, find out. It's good to find out who you are, and, identify, because you can be riding with the wrong culture. Not saying that that culture is bad, but I'm saying you're misplacing yourself from who you really are. And so I am guilty of that. I am guilty of that myself, even though I've been drawn to a certain culture, a certain way about myself, because even as a young girl, I always liked the outdoors. I love to go outside. Even though I had my cartoons, I had my games, my dolls, my books. It was just I had to be outside. I had to roll around in the grass. I had to look at the trees, look at the sky, look at the butterflies and the bees and the flowers and the trees, and play with my dogs. So I would be doing lawn work, helping Dad with the car. So it just tends to, if that's who you really are, it's going to stay with you regardless. And we all are a part of nature. So to get in contact and stay in touch with that part of yourself is peaceful. You get to a peaceful section in your soul and in your spirit. So we're going to dig on in to the segment here. So first off, I'm going to be discussing one of the pioneers, because I'm going to save the other part for last. Then you can possibly get an idea of why certain individuals do what they do when they're doing it. Just trying to make the world a better place. And one of those individuals that's paved the way in the Jamaican music world, one of the people, is Mr. Bart Marley. Honey, I still listen to Marley today. I promise you I do. I'm going to listen to me some Buffalo Soldiers, some Exodus, some Stand Up, Get Up. Oh my goodness. The list goes on and on. Redemption Song, yes. I Shot the Sheriff. Don't Worry. Children's Book. Blah, blah, blah. The list goes on and on. But when I was reading, I remember reading some things before that, were familiar to me. And so I was like, okay, that's familiar. Yeah, he did that. He was about that. No, he really wasn't about that, but he was about that. Bart Marley, he's a Jamaican singer and songwriter for those who don't know. Y'all got to know this man if you don't know. He was born Robert Nesta Marley on February 6, 1945. That being said, right now what we're going through, as for the debate on cancel culture and critical race therapy and racism, and then you have the Black Lives Matter, the Proud Boys, and you still have all these groups and organizations that's pro-white, white power, pro-black, and it's like, when you look at the history, you have no other choice but to see how one side is fighting. The other one is just trying to uphold what they took. Honestly. You may have a different opinion about that, but we're now learning the truth. A lot of us are now learning the truth. And I honestly think that it spreaded because you have the indigenous people, like my ancestors, who are already here. And then you have the British that choose to make this move along with the Scottish, and some Irish. But some Irish was also slaves. And when you starting to learn this, and it's like possibly 20 years later when you was taught a whole different version in school, it's just like, why should there even be a debate about critical race therapy? And I say therapy because it is therapy for us. It is therapeutic to know the truth and to find out what is actually really going on when it's going on and how it went down. The right truth of how it went down. And my heart just stretches and yearn for the truth. I knew something was up when I was younger, but I just didn't, you got to do what the teachers say. But I know my people did this, and I used to hear my auntie talk about this, or my great auntie and my grandmother was talking about this. So I never heard it mentioned in school. So that being said, I say that and I break off from Marley because of the fact we're dealing with this right now, yet again. There were a lot of people in the closet. There were a lot of people just lying and waiting for Trump to take office. For them to come out and say, I never liked you. Not because you may dance better than me. You may run faster than me. You may use slang or your own urban dictionary against me. It's just because of who you are. The way you look. I can't stand to see your mud face. And that being said, how dare you? Because we gotta look at you. Why you can't look at us? And then we've been here. You ain't have to look at us in the beginning and take our things. So, with it being said, from generation to generation to generation, you understand, like, the whole time I'm watching these men say you not will erase us. And I'm looking like, really? And they're saying like, you will not erase us. You will not erase us. And I'm like, that's the same shit y'all tried to do to my people. Wait a minute. Am I tripping? Did he really say that? And I appreciate the people that are a different skin color standing up for us, the truth. I appreciate you. I honestly do. Now, with so many things going on, I have a tendency to get in my own mindset. And if you see me in the street, I could possibly walk right by you if I don't know you. Like, if you don't say, hey, yo, LG, look. You know, if you don't say that, I'm probably going, because it's so much evil. You have to be very careful. And then you got to have so many pandemics, different strands of it. You know, they might flip something out in the air tomorrow. You just don't know. So, you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful. That being said, there is a war going on. And it's not just on race. I have been fighting this on saying it. I mean, I've become to really dislike people like them. The people that just, are more superior than you. Even so more now. And I understand why now, at 3:33 a.m., I understand now why our ancestors, some of our ancestors, did not tell us. Because they knew we would have to possibly walk with a swivel at all times. Because the truth is very, very powerful. Because they want you to continue to fear and be afraid. That is their weapon. If I can break you down, if I can take everything you have, including your history, including your dignity, if I can even twist up your morals and make you hate me, I'm going to do that to stay on top. You are the scum of the earth for that. To have people suffer, not know truly who they are, not knowing exactly where they came from. You mixed us up intentionally. You wanted to give us different dialects intentionally so we can have miscommunication. See, all this post-traumatic slave syndrome, stress disorders, mental issues. And you can't always point the finger, but this time, because y'all started it. You started the greed for money, power, sex, status. some of the little quarrels was already there within the tribes. But oh boy, when the light skins came, the tidy whities, when they came, it really got real. So that being said, when I find out that people of the same skin tone hunted each other and turned each other over, I was like, yep, that's about right. It's a lot of black on black crime. So when you say black on black, you have to be careful with that black. Got to research the black. And I have to get used to, because I was in the African American mindset at one point, even though I knew I was indigenous. I'm indigenous. But see, it has gotten so that it'll trick your mind up from your lineages that you know and was told, to where you got to get the paperwork. You have to find the paperwork. And you have to get it documented, doing your genealogy. And see, Bob knew this. Mr. Marley knew this, honey. And he knew that the only way that the people of color would be able to live free, carefree, is unity. That was the only way. And our ancestors knew that too. That's why they ain't hardly tell us anything, some of us. Some of us, have ancestors, grandfathers, great-grandmothers, that expressed things to us and told us, like, look, hey, I'm going to tell you, just where you come from, honey. Let me tell you the real low down, but you can't tell nobody else about this stuff now. Why? Now, understand why. You're going to be hunted. It's possibly that you're going to be hunted, whether legally, from the opposite foe of supremacism. It's possible. And it's wrong, but it's possible. I have no idea, because of how quick it is and how possible it is to work in a law in under 24 months. To write in a law in under 24 months. I don't understand why we haven't had this law. And then I understood, lady, you're wording it wrong because you're wording it like the government. The government designed the word black. Yep. We were either indigenous, Native American, or African. Nothing else. Let me say Aboriginal. And then nothing else. Yep. Right here in the South, in this state that I live in, South Carolina, you have people who consider themselves black folk, Gullah Geechee, many tribes of Native Americans, over 29, Indians, American Indians, And you know what? I do not even know my native language, my indigenous language. But I know the British. I know English. It tears at your heart because you're like, how can people be so dang evil? Like, how is it that so many can be so evil to one another? So when you look at the fact that there are so many different religions, it's a complete double standard. So it's 100 Texas school districts that are like, hey, we don't want this discussed in our classes. We don't want our children to know the truth. We don't want our children to know that it's a possibility when he goes to the store, which is quote unquote black friend, it may not be a white person or a person of a different race say something derogatory and racist to that quote unquote black boy or girl. So that being said, how is he going to take that? How is it that it's going to register to him that it's wrong if it's not addressed? So that being said, because I was very young when it was told to me the N-word, I was actually in preschool. So, and I still remember, it's amazing how you remember the bad, but before the, all the good. But I remember her calling me that. And it ended very bad. And I got the bitter end of the stick because of the color of my skin. And then I started to realize that there was a difference, not just in our skin color, but our status because of our skin color in our community, where I lived, where I was born. So that was real. That was a trauma hit, for real. For me to be, as a grown woman and still, remember it like that. Yeah. So Bob knew that. And he experienced it himself in some of his tours, as well as a lot of entertainers that were back then and still today. And it's wrong. We come to have a good time, show you a good time, entertain you, for you to be entertained. You get entertained. But yet and still, you want to belittle us. Another double standard. How many double standards do you think people can eat before they regurgitate it? So, that being said, there were some people of the same skin tone, same background, that felt like he was being a little biased because of the people he entertained. People that didn't stand up for us like that, like they should have. Because if it was so, Ulysses Grant, ex-president Ulysses Grant, he did a reconstruction at one point in history. And it didn't take long. And that actually enabled people to actually see people just a little bit different, but in a good way. So it's absolutely ridiculous to me as an educator on things that I learned, I inform, as a person with morals and dignity, integrity, to see library books go out of the library instead of into the library. So there were 50 books parents wanted banned. It was dealing with racism, the books that they were doing for racism, sex, gender, and sexuality. And to be honest, I can only see one that I would probably have to think, like, in certain grades you shouldn't actually give them that right then until they get to, like, maybe second, third grade. That's when you read a book like that. Because to just identify a little, or try to identify with the non-binary or the transgender people, I have to work on it myself. I'm all the way when it comes to the L, the B, the G, and the Q. I'm working on it, y'all. I'm working on the T, because I have my own thing with the T. So I'm not being bashful about it. I was trying to find a word to say, and I'm not wanting to be disrespectful to the people of the T. However, as a spiritual individual, I just believe that we have to, we have a duty to go out the way we came in, as it pertains to our body, because he created it, marvelous works. He does no wrong, honey. I mean, whether you see the Most High as a woman or a man, the Creator can't mess up. So, that being said, to each his own with that, but my own personal journey is my own personal journey with it. So, moving on from that part, I'm working on it, y'all. I'm working on it. So, that being said, I just don't understand how it's not any laws that actually benefits a person of indigenous dark skin when it comes to these hate crimes. I see so many hate crimes, and I've been seeing bouts of justice happening. But when you look at how many crimes were committed versus how many crimes were justified with justice, and the people were put behind bars or executed or however it needed to be for the crimes that they committed hatefully, I'm like, and then you have to think of all these other things that they have out there to take you out. It's so much to come against an individual. It plays upon your mental health alone, just to live in society and keep moving. It will play on you alone. So, that being said, Bart Marley, he taught and spoke through his music. You have to understand that is my 30-minute seg. My name is Lady MG. Life means go up on the daily. This is part 1.